So Marco,
Yeah,
I know you're a guitarist and you're also a composer as well.
yeah.
I'd like to know a little bit, how do you go about composing something, especially for guitar? Is there like a process or a series of steps that you go through?
Yeah, of course, we always have some tools that we learn in music in a theoretical way. But for me, I prefer always to follow my instinct. That if I have something sounding in my mind, I try to do that. And as my most important part of my culture, I would say, is Brazilian. Then I've been working especially in Brazilian, only Brazilian styles and things like that. And then I've been working a lot about rhythms. It means that is important, I think, for guitarists in Brazil and abroad who wants to play Brazilian style. Then just to know how to play not only bossa nova, that's quite simple, something like you see, but also we could play samba, for example. You see, or there is a lot of rhythms like coco. This is coco, is a kind of Brazilian rhythm.
Coco.
And coco, yeah.
Coco.
COCO, yeah. And also, there is another one, maracatu, for example. This is quite beautiful because you have three elements in maracatu. You have the cowbell that does tantin, 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 this formula, and then you have the snare drum. It's bizarre because it doesn't go exactly in the 16th notes. It's not like but something like it's bizarre. If you don't play like this, it doesn't sound real maracatu. And then you have the alfaias, that's the big drums that does and then you combine that. And what we do is we try to bring these percussive elements to the guitar. Then doing like this is the cowbell, and the alfaias are gonna be like a yeah, and I always use these elements, rhythmical elements, a lot in my pieces, you know. And of course, there are different songs also, and we have the choro in Brazil. That's a quite important style. Choro, C-H-O-R-O. That's you could say that's a real Brazilian style. It came from Europe in the beginning. But then it mixed with the African Brazilian culture, and we have these beautiful melodies and these kind of things, you see, and beautiful harmonies too, like. Things like that. Very sentimental music we have in Brazil. or some sure in mind, like a, sentimental melodies and beautiful harmonies.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got these various rhythmic elements that you can kind of choose from, and the harmonic element, which is, it sounds, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds kind of jazzy.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it sounds, yeah. There is harmonically, there is a great influence from jazz, you see. And not rhythmically, but the harmonies, especially things by Antonio Carlos Jobim, for example. You can feel the chord sequences that's quite similar to some chord sequences that you have in jazz. For example, you have this or desafinado by Jobim, and you have how is that? Some exactly the same chord sequences, quite the same, you see. And you were right. There is a big influence from American jazz in that part, especially in harmony.
And what about the melodic elements? How do you add those in? So you've got the rhythm, you've got the harmonies. How do you go about? Because I imagine you'd want the melodies to sound Brazilian as well.
Yeah, well, melodically it comes from different parts of the world. You see, because we had this big Portuguese influence in Brazil, from Fado, for example, but also there was a big immigration from Italy. And I remember once I was in Italy and I played. There is a tune by Cachimbinho, that's a clarinetist that passed away many years ago, and I played this, and there was a guy, the sound engineer, was from Napoli, and then he told me, "Oh, this is a Neapolitan song," and I said, "No, this is Brazilian." I said, "But it's the same," and then he started improvising, singing on the melody with this dialect from Napoli. See, it was fantastic. The melody is like this. Quite sentimental.
Yeah. Kind of romantic as well.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, a lot, yeah. But also some, you see, like very rhythmic, like this.
I love that bit there.
Yeah,
It's,
it's called
feels
batucada.
almost kind of funky.
Yeah, it's a little bit funky. Yeah, it mixes. So it's called batucada in Brazil. Batucada.
Batucada.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it has also this feeling because actually everything is 4/4, and you have 16 notes, the measure, and then like tick 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 tick, and then you can choose different accents, but there is not infinite possibilities. You have just 16 parts of the beat that you can put the accents and.
All right, so the accent can go on
Yeah,
different parts of the beat.
yeah,
Can you have various accents together?
yeah. Because, for example, samba is a good example. Brazilian samba. That you can understand the rhythm if you get three elements: the tambourine, pandeiro, you call, the surdo, that is slow drum, and the small instruments called tambourine. And then the pandeiro does just the 16 notes, like you see, and the low drum make an accent on the second part of the beat. It's a 2/4, and then it's the weak part of the beat. You see, and then there is the accent. That's interesting. That it becomes swinging. The first is here, and the accent is in the weak part of the beat. And then you have the tambourine that try to play exactly on the weak parts of those 16, because we use two measures, 16 notes, you see. Then you have this tack, tick, tack, tick, tack, tick, tack, and then the tambourine does tick, tack, 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 you see. Trying always to be out of the. If you think about European music, classical European music, Mozart, for example, does you always have the accent on the first part of the beat, and then this African influence just try to. This make the swing. It makes people dance. That you put in the weak parts of the measure the accents, you see.
So the accent is on the weak parts.
Yeah,
beat.
yeah. Like the tambourine does, because you have this tick 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 tick. Then it's gonna do like tack 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 cut cut tack 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 tack. See, always in different parts, but not tack tick tan ta ta tan ta ta. Never do this.
So together, I can imagine it sounds really interesting because you've got these different accents.
Yeah, it mixes with the pandeiro, for example. Pandeiro does tack tick tack tick tack, and then you put the accents, and the low drum that does the accent on the weak part, also the beat, and then it makes people dance.
Brilliant, brilliant. Marco, thank you very much for this.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
It was fascinating finding out about how composers in Brazil and yourself in particular would go about this
Thank you very
process.
much.
Thank you.